Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. Salutations to all. Welcome back to the monthly question answer session that we have been having. If whoever has any specific question, you can raise your hand. We will unmute. You can ask and then we'll take it forward. Hmm. No questions? Okay.
Hari Om Swamiji. My question is that in Gita chapter 9, verse 18, where Lord Krishna is saying that he is the Bijam Avyayam. Now, here he is saying that the self is the origin of the tree of samsara, but it itself does not undergo any transformation. How is that?
Because that which is infinite, in that there is no change that is possible, number one. Number two, there are examples for that. Without undergoing any change, the rope appears as a snake, right? Without undergoing any change, the waker who is lying on the bed projects the whole dream world. So, if we see the world, then we say that yes, there is a Ishvara who is the cause, because neither the Jiva has created the world nor can the world come out of nothing and by itself. There has to be an intelligent cause. And so, what is that intelligent cause? This whole creation is infinite. The cause of the creation also has to be infinite. Now, if the cause of the creation is infinite, then it goes to say that the creation is not possible, because infinite will become finite the moment it changes, and creation is change. Yet we see the creation in front of us. We can't say it is not there, but infinite is not capable of producing it. In the sense that that's the nature of infinity, it is changeless. So how does the changing world appear then? So without undergoing any change, when the substratum appears as a superimposition, that is what it means. So when he says bijam avyayam, the bija is not got destroyed. In the world we see that the seed gets destroyed when we plant it. It changes and plant is born, seed is gone. Here it is not like that, because the source is infinite and the creation is not a production. Creation is not a modification. Creation is an appearance. Swaswarupa aparityagena rupantara apatti. That is what it is called. Without undergoing any change in its nature. Swaswarupa aparityagena. It doesn't give up its own nature of changelessness. Rupantara apatti. It appears as something else.
Something else. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Hariom. You
Like
want
the,
to say anything?
no, like the crystal ball, if a cloth is brought in near it, blue cloth, it will take up the blueness.
Yes.
But crystal ball has not become blue.
No.
Without undergoing any change, it appears blue.
Yes.
That way, without undergoing any change, the infinite alone appears as the finite, and that's the power of Maya. Maya makes the infinite appear as the finite. Changeless appears as the changing.
Changing. Thank you, Swamiji. Hariom, Swamiji. Pranam.
Yes, Lata.
Swamiji, in the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, why does Dhritarashtra say Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre? Does he know that it is a battle for Dharma, and that is why does he use the word Dharma Kshetra for Kurukshetra? What is the meaning of this, Swamiji? Thank you.
So, Dhritarashtra knows that it's a battle for dharma because finally his children are doing adharma only. And what is the dharma? He himself is doing adharma, first of all. He should not have been the king. He was put there as a caretaker king. The whole kingdom belongs to the eldest son of Pandu, so Yudhishthir. But he got attached to the kingdom, and then he divided the kingdom into two, gave the barren part of it, that Khandav Prastha, he gave to Pandavas. They with their effort made it into Indraprastha. Then we know that they lost in the game of dice the second time, and they went for exile, and then 13 years of 13th year of incognito. And when they came back, the kingdom should have been given back to them, Indraprastha, etc. should have been given back to them. They did not give. Pandavas sent a peace messenger, they rejected that. Then they sent Krishna Bhagavan, they rejected that also. So Dhritarashtra knows that he is not doing his duty, and it is not anymore a battle for land, kingdom, revenge. It is a battle for dharma because they are Kshatriyas. The Pandavas are also Kshatriyas, and in fact the war is imposed on the Pandavas. They did not even wage a war. The war is imposed because Duryodhan said, not even a piece of land occupied by a needle I will give without war. So what you said is right in one standpoint, that he knows it's a battle for dharma, and he knows he has done adharma. Even Duryodhan knows. He says to Bhishma, he says, Janami dharmam nachame pravritti, janami adharmam nachame nivritti. I know what is dharma, but I can't engage in it. I know what is adharma, I can't refrain from it. His attachment is so much, and he has become a victim of his own mind. That is one reason. Second reason is that place itself is a very holy place, sacred place. If you read the traditional commentaries of many of the acharyas, they very clearly explain that lots of rites, rituals, yajnas, yagas used to happen in that vast open place it is actually. And rituals have been happening there for a long time. And so they were practicing, and that place is actually called Dharma Kshetra, because lots of dharma happens there, rites, rituals, etc. One meaning of dharma is that. And hence, they need such a huge place. 40 lakh people have assembled there. More than 40 lakh, little more than 40 lakh, plus animals, whatever the, horses and elephants and all that. 18 Akshamhini Sena. What a huge place that has to be. So they chose that place, Dharma Kshetra, because in the past, when elaborate rituals for long days, number of days used to happen, that was the place where it was being done. That is the second reason. Third reason, if you see, this is a compilation by Bhagwan Veda Vyasa. Gita is a compilation. Vyasena Grathitam, it is said. It is not his composition. What Krishna Bhagwan said to Arjun, Veda Vyasji heard, and he has compiled it in these 18 chapters, providing a proper sequential thought flow and all that. Even to chant, so it's not that in these 700 verses, in this way, the knowledge of the Gita has been given by Krishna Bhagwan to Arjun. Krishna Bhagwan is not going to say Bhagwan Uvacha, and Arjun is not going to say Arjuna Uvacha and all that. That is all compiled. So when this compilation is done, so Gita by itself also is an independent work. It comes in the Mahabharata, there is no doubt. In the Bhishma Parva, it will come, but the composition by itself is also an independent composition which helps all of us to live the higher way of life. So any composition will begin with an invocation generally. The author will invoke. Here the word dharma itself is the invocation. He could have started Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra also. He starts with Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Because the word dharma itself is the name of Bhagavan himself. In the Vishnu Sahasranam it comes, no, Dharma, Dharma Viduttamaha. So Dharma is the name of Bhagavan Vishnu himself. And so any author, before one starts any compilation or even a composition, one will invoke the grace of Bhagavan or the Guru, Tattva, and then one will start writing that. So Dharma word itself is one invocation. So that is one more reason why Dharma Kshetra, that place is called Dharma Kshetra. And then if you take symbolically, the human life is meant to live dharma. Kshetra means this body. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetra mityabhidhiyate is what Bhagavan says in the 13th chapter, where this body, not only the physical but emotional, intellectual, causal, all these bodies are kshetra, field. So especially this human body is the field. For what? For dharma to grow. Because here we have the buddhi, we have the ability to discriminate right, wrong, do dharma, go away from adharma, evolve higher, attain punya, attain purity of mind, and then attain realization, swarupa dharma. So, Vedavyasji, by writing Dharma Kshetra, indicates that to us. Our purpose is to do dharma, to live righteously here, to purify the mind, and to know what is my swarupa dharma, what is my swadharma. And that's why it is said, if we connect these two, the first word is dharma, last word is mama. Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama is the 18th chapter, 78th verse. Last word is mama. You connect these two, what one will get? The essence of the Gita is mama dharma. What is my dharma? So the objective of human life and the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita both are indicated by the word dharma. And the first word is dharma. So my objective as a human being is what? Having come here as a human being, if I evolve to realize my divine nature, that is my swarupa dharma, then that is the best use of my life. Everything else is a means to make me realize the truth. And what is the purpose of the Gita? Gita will tell us this. What is my swadharma? Who am I as a temperament? What is my individual temperament? And then accordingly I should live doing my duties as per my varnashrama dharma. Then what is paradharma? What I should not do, avoid, because that's not my temperament. I should not get tempted by imitating somebody or just because something is popular. Should not go into paradharma. So avoid paradharma, stick to swadharma, dedicate that to Bhagavan, come to purify the mind and realize the swarupa dharma, who I am truly. That's why the first word dharma has a lot of importance. if you split those words, dharma kshetre, kuru kshetre, one will get kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. Meaning in every field, do your duty. Meaning every role. In that context, field means the role. As a father, as a mother, as a friend, as a sibling, as a spouse, as a employer or a professional, whatever it may be, I have to stick to my duty. Whether people do or not, I have to do my duty. Kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. So that's why that word dharma in the beginning of the Gita has all these different significances. And yes, place wise, it is a place where rituals were done, and then that was a place where the war was fought for establishment of dharma itself. Adharmic forces had to be destroyed. So that's the reason. Yes, Monica.
Hari Om Swamiji. My question is not related to the Bhagavad Gita, but from today the Kartik month has started. So I wanted to check with you which would be the best chapter from the Bhagavad Gita to chant during this period as part of your Kartik sadhana.
Satvik sadhana, that's what you are asking?
Kartik month, Kartik sadhana.
Kartik month.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if there is a specific chapter only to be chanted in the Kartik month, because all the chapters are connecting us to the divine. Kartik month specific sadhana generally that people do is they worship Bhagwan Shiva, and very elaborate upasanas are done of Lord Shiva, and different vratas also come in this Kartik month, which one generally follows. If one wants to specifically chant any particular chapter, then we generally say second chapter is the essence of the Gita, 12th chapter is the Bhakti Yoga, 15th is Purushottam Yoga, and 18th is again the essence. So these are four. Generally, we always recommend to chant these chapters on any auspicious occasion also, or even if somebody has passed on, then we say these
Right.
four. That time you even add chapter number 8. But otherwise 12, 15, because 2 and 18 are also quite long. 12 and 15 one can definitely chant.
All right. Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Just 1 minute. There is one question which has come by email. I'm just opening that. So the question is about eclipse. What rules are mentioned in scriptures for the eclipse, and why such rules are there? It is even said that we should chant Bhagwan's name and not to sleep during a particular period of time. This email had come yesterday, so it is today from 1 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. because last night was the lunar eclipse, and specifically it was between this time 1 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. I want to know how it affects a human being. Does it add to the punya? It affects the most for pregnant women as it in turn affects the child once it is born. Is it true? So, see the eclipse. All of us know that eclipse is solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. So the earth comes between the moon and the sun, lunar eclipse, sun and the moon comes between the earth and the sun, solar eclipse. Now it is not that in our country people did not know this fact. Varahamihira, of course, he explained very clearly, but even before Varahamihira, it is said, you see this Brihat Samhita, in that the real cause of eclipse was known several centuries before Varahamihira. Varahamihira was in the first half of the 6th century CE. So in that Brihat Samhita, it is said that see the shloka here is Bhuchayam Swagrahane Bhaskaram Arka Grahe Pravishati Induhu. Then iti uparaga karanam uktam idam divya drigbhicharyahi divya drigbhiracharyahi. Then rahur akaranam asmin niyuktaha shastra sadbhavaha Brihat Samhita 5.8 and 13. So it is not that they did not know that the eclipse is caused because of the alignment of the sun, moon and the earth in 180 degrees. It has to come. So they knew. But we have to also know that many times the scientific knowledge, which happens even today, scientific knowledge is one thing and the way in which people live is very different. So scientifically, if we say that, okay, whatever, so some simple example. So if we say that we know smoking is injurious to health, or maida is not great, or white sugar is having a lot of chemicals. Now scientific knowledge is one thing, but are we living according to that? We are not living according to that. And so it did happen that many day-to-day practices, in that the Puranic stories which are given, people went by that and they felt that, Rahu eats the moon or the sun. Because the story goes that when the Samudra Manthan happened and the Amrit came out and Mohini was distributing that Amrit, to the Devata she was giving first, and this Rahu took the form of a Devata and went and sat there. And Mohini gave the Amrit and he drank. Surya and Chandra immediately noticed that this is not a Devata, he is only come in the form of a Devata here. And they immediately told Mohini, and Bhagwan took out the chakra and cut off his head. Now he couldn't finish drinking and the head has been cut, but the Amrit has gone in. So the Rahu has a head, he doesn't have a body. And so it is said that because Surya and Chandra exposed him, periodically he comes and eats away the sun. But because he doesn't have a body, sun and the moon, and because he doesn't have a body, the sun and the moon escape. Now see, that is a Puranic story. Now this does not mean that scientific knowledge was not there, point one. Point two, we have to also know that people think that Rahu is a demon. Demons are considered inauspicious. So now if Rahu is eating the sun and the moon, one goes to see the eclipse, etc. Then it is considered inauspicious, then we have seen a demon. So one is supposed to take bath after the eclipse is over, because you have seen in the earlier days, like even today, see, after so much of development also, there is not enough awareness in the people that if you want to see a solar eclipse, you should see it only with proper glasses which are equipped for that. Otherwise, when that solar eclipse happens, the complete, you will see that moon completely covering the sun, it will be dark. Then as the moon moves away, that arc of the light of the sun will slowly start revealing. And sometimes the rays are very, very sharp and bright, and that radiation of the sun, all of us know, it is tremendous. So it will affect the people. Some people have lost their eyesight. So those dangers are there. Now in the earlier days, that's why it was said solar eclipse, you should not even come out. Because people don't know and they see the sun, then it affects their eyes. Shastra doesn't say don't come out. People have said don't come out. See, Shastra, if you read that Ganapati Atharva Shirsha Upanishad, it very clearly said Surya Grahe Mahanadyam Pratima Sannidhava Japtva Siddha Mantro Bhavati. You will become very, Ganapati Atharva Shirsha Upanishad itself is considered as a mantra. And japa of that mantra, if one does during Surya Grahan, one will attain siddhi of that. It also means that the Puras Charan, as many alphabets are there, that many lakh times if you do the japa, then that mantra becomes siddha. Now imagine Ganapati Sarva Shirsha Upanishad as a whole is a mantra. How many alphabets are there? That many lakh times of japa one has to do. But if one chants it during the Surya Grahan, that much punya of a Pura Charan one will get it during that much time. Now just imagine what level of shortcut it is, which will take years and years to do. It will get over in few hours. So it was said, and there are reasons for it. That is not geographical reason. Those are the adhyatmic reasons for it. That when one's during the Grahan Samay, one remembers, one turns within various influences which are there. One is able to turn within and benefit from those influences of the devatas, etc. Because we don't believe only in the external symbols of the external manifestations of sun, moon, all of them. We believe in the three layers, right? Adi Bhautik is this external world. Adi Daivik is still subtler, with the devatas who govern the functioning of all these, Surya, Chandra, Rahu, Ketu, all these are the deities. Then there's Adhyatmic level. So the Adhyatmic benefit of the Grahan is the maximum, where the sadhana, when one is doing, the ability of the mind to go deep in the sadhana is enhanced tremendously. And so it will be said that during japa, during the Grahan Kal, from Adhyatmic standpoint, one should sit and do japa, Havan, but Havan has a lot of complications, so best is to do japa. So do snan before, take bath before the japa, before the Grahan Kal, so that one is purified. Then one sits during the Grahan, one sits and does the japa. If it is daytime, etc., one can do Gayatri. Otherwise, if it is night time, then do Ishta Mantra Japa. Even daytime, you can do Ishta Mantra Japa. It will give the benefit of Puras Charan, of whichever mantra you do. Now, suppose Om Namah Shivaya, a Shadakshari mantra. We have to do 6 lakh time Japa in a certain span of time as an Anushtan, as Puras Charan. Then one will get the benefit of that mantra. Now that may take on a month or little more than that, and whatever has to happen, that may happen. I mean, as per the calculation, it will take time. But if one does the japa Om Namah Shivaya during the Grahan Kal, from the time it starts to the time it ends, full time one sits and does that Grahan, does that japa, the full benefit of 6 lakh that Pura Charan one will get. So that is Adhyatmic Drishti, where one has to follow this certain rituals and be pure and then do this, just what we do, the achaman and pranayam and then nyasa and all that, and do the japa, and one will get that benefit. So Adhyatmic Drishti, it is said. So Surya Grahan, Chandra Grahan also. Grahan Kal one should do. Adhyatmically we know that Chandra is the deity of the mind and Surya is the deity of the senses as well as the buddhi. Chakshusha Surya, it is said. And in certain situations, to encourage people to do more sadhana, to benefit, to remain indoors, it was said. It is not that people were scared or they were afraid, so they to just control them, it is just given some instruction. No, adhyatmic benefits are there. Great Mahatmas have said it, Shastra has said it, so one follows that. Additionally, it was very clear that Chandra Grahan you can see. Surya Grahan, if you want to see, is very dangerous. Unless you don't have proper equipment, one should not go out and see the Surya Grahan. You can stand in the river and do the japa, etc. No, don't look at the sun. Those instructions are given in the scripture. Now, in the scriptures, there are some places where it is also said that there is a radiation that happens and food gets spoiled and all that. And so there are rules which are given there. Put this darbha grass on the food and the water, etc. See, scientifically, there is no the moon radiation, etc., is not harmful in that sense. But all of us also know that in the scripture, what is said, which today science also accepts, that the sun and the moon, the rays of the sun and the moon sustain the whole universe. So sun, obviously, because of its sun rays, sunlight, only the whole photosynthesis and all that happens, and then food is generated, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and we also are able to breathe because of that. So sun rays are the power of it, evaporation happens, rains happen, so many things happen because of the Surya. Ancient times, they also knew about the power of the moon. Today, people are discovering that, in our country, lots of places, the farmers, before they sow the seeds, they will expose them for a month or so to the moonlight. So, moon, the rays of the moon also are nectarine rays, and the moon rays also influence, and a lot of minerals, etc., are coming to the seeds from the moon rays. So, in the 15th chapter of the Gita, what does Bhagavan say? Yada dityagatam tejaha jagadbhasayate khilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhi mamakam गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहम ओजसा उष्णामि च औषधि सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. Ushnami cha aushadhi, I nourish all the aushadhis. How? Somo bhutva, having become the moon. So the rays of the moon and the rays of the sun, they have a lot of impact on the whole creation. Now, with our present knowledge of science, maybe we are not yet aware of subtle changes in the molecular structure of the food particles, etc. during Grahan. Maybe it's a matter of time, in research it may come out. So maybe our ancestors, they knew many things intuitively, and they had different methods of knowing. So they suggested that put this darbha grass. Now the darbha grass, if you see, is also very powerful in absorbing harmful other energies and radiations, which is not used only during eclipse times, even at other times it is used. Plus, darbha grass also has the power to absorb powerful positive vibrations. So if you see in a puja, darbha grass ring is worn by the pujari, and the darbha grass will be kept even in the panchapatra. So the mantra, when one chants, the mantra will create certain positive vibrations. Those positive vibrations, darbha grass will harness, transfer it to the water. That water is what we give as tirtha to everybody. Now that is proved. Darbha grass mat is what we use for meditation also. It will prevent the energy leakage from the body, which is the energy generated in the body, from going into the earth. So even in the Gita, what Bhagavan says, Chailajina Kushottaram. The asan must be of this kusha grass, there means darbha. So if one says, no, harmful radiation doesn't release suddenly during eclipse, acceptable. Maybe today, with whatever knowledge we have, we know this. Maybe it does change during eclipse, any molecular changes that we don't know yet. But whether it is harmful or not, one important point is if spiritual sadhanas people are doing and doing japa, doing tapa and all this during the eclipse time, it will create nice positive vibration that will anyway get transferred onto the food, water, whatever you keep the darbha grass on. So Shastra says you keep darbha grass on the food before the eclipse time starts, and after eclipse time is over, you remove all that, and then cook fresh food, take bath, cook the fresh food. And in case of lunar eclipse, you after taking bath, one sees the Surya, one sees the moon and then offers arghya to the moon, and then one takes food. So they say that there is also, the Hemadri says that Surya Grahetu na ashniyat parva yama chatushtayam. 4 yamas one should not eat before Surya Grahan, which is 12 hours. 1 yama is 3 hours. For 12 hours one doesn't eat. Chandra Grahetu yamam strin bala vriddha turair vina. Hemadri has quoted page 31 of Smriti Kau, page 7, and Hemadri is page 381 and Smriti Kau is page 76. So what it means, Chandragrahan 9 hours before one should not eat the food. But this does not apply to small children, bala, vriddha, elders, senior citizens, and women, especially those who are pregnant women. Now, if one says that why should we not eat food? Food is not getting spoiled. Now, see, one point also is we should understand that if it is also, we have to see things in a holistic way, not segregating separately. So, if a person has done upvas, now 9 hours if one doesn't eat, 12 hours one doesn't eat. Today people are doing all that in the name of intermittent fasting and all that, or not, to detoxify the body. One aspect is detoxify the body, but that's not the only purpose. Now, the whole thing is how the spiritual sadhana increases. It becomes more deeper. So if one has not eaten 9 hours, 12 hours, the prana shakti will turn upwards. That which was going down. When we eat food, the prana will go downwards to digest it and then evacuate it. All that will happen, right? So if before Grahan, 9 hours, 12 hours, one has not eaten, and then during Grahan Kal, one is sitting and doing all this japa sadhana, you will see the impact of it. It will be absolutely different. You try it, you will know. Because the prana shakti is going up, to focus the mind to go deeper into sadhana will become very, very easy. So that is one point. Punya, etc. I said that is adrishta phala, that we have to believe the Shastra. If Shastra says the Punya phala is there, it is there. Now, see, it is said here that Veda Vyasji says this. Indor Lakshagunam Proktam Raver Dashagunam Smritam Ganga Toye tu Samprapte Indo Koti Raver Dashaha. So what he says, an eclipse of the moon is 100,000 times more meritorious than ordinary day. Suppose you do japa of Om Namah Shivaya 1 mala on a regular day. If you do that during this lunar eclipse, it is 1 lakh times more beneficial. Just imagine 1 lakh times more means, can you imagine? An eclipse of the moon is 100,000 times more meritorious than an ordinary day. And an eclipse of the sun is 10 times more so than the moon. That's why Surya Grahan time is much more powerful. 10 lakh times, just think. 10 times more so than the preceding. And if the waters of Ganga are near, meaning you are sitting on the banks of Ganga, then a moon eclipse is 1 crore of times more meritorious, and sun's eclipse is 10 times more than that, 10 crore times. That's why the Shastra says this. You sit and do japa, 1 mala of 108 is equal to 1 lakh malas of 108 on a lunar eclipse. If one sits near the banks of Ganga and does that same sadhana in the eclipse time, then it is 1 crore times. And if you do that during Surya Grahan, it is 10 lakh times and 10 crore times. Now this is the power, which means this much punya also will be generated. Please remember. Now that's why we have to have Shraddha. Now Shastra says this. And again, please remember, when Shastra says about punya, etc., and when we chant the mantras, you do Gayatri Sandhya, Gayatri Japa, or you do Ishtadevta Japa, we are invoking the divinities. And the celestial Adi Daivik realm has its own ways. We don't know many of these things. We only think, how does it matter? Sun is coming in line with the moon and the earth. It's just a geographical event. It doesn't create any big radiation and harm and this and that. These are all old superstitious beliefs. We should not believe in all this. We are modern, so we should eat and sleep. Last night, many of the people would have slept. 1 to 2:30. A regular time, people are up till 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. But you tell them, sit and do japa. No. Who is going to get up at 1 o'clock and do? But those who believe in the Shastra, we get up. We go to sleep earlier and then get up, put the alarm, wake up, take bath, do the japa, again take bath. Follow, because Shastra said it. And what is the harm if one does it? One is only remembering Bhagwan. No? What is anything that is going to be disturbing so much that we should not do? There's nothing regressive about it. It's taking Bhagwan's name. And if one has the Shraddha, one gets that punya. Punya is the bank balance of this universe, Baba. Everything else converts into punya and papa. Final conversion is that much only, and that is what we will take and go. That is what will give next janma proper good janmas, and that is creating good samskars and whatever prosperity, family, healthy relationships, happiness in life, spiritual development. Everything comes from that punya only. Best time to accumulate punya. In the world, people have all this great festive sale and offers and dhamaka and New Year and whatever that people believe in, and there they want to get benefit. But when the Shastra is saying that, array, you sit and do japa, you will get 1 lakh times benefit, 10 crore times benefit, they think ये सब सिर्फ psychological है, हमको encourage करने के लिए, so we don't want to fall for all this, and they don't do. Even if it is psychological, so what? Remember Bhagwan's name, it is good. Generally, one doesn't remember. At least the Grahan Kal start remembering. So, the rules are given for doing Adhyatmic Sadhana. Rules are given for Shuddhi of the body and of the pranas, of the food. And it is also said that after Havan is over, after this Grahan Kal is over, do Dan. Now, see, we have to also, that's why I said, see the whole thing in totality. Now, Dan is done. So, if you do any Puras Charan, the Puras Charan, see, you are benefiting because of that punya generated. One is benefiting as a jiva. Our Shastra always says that don't think only about yourself, share. So, if you know the rules of that Puras Charan, when you finish Puras Charan, there is a technical requirement. What is the technical requirement? I'll just share that with you. So, whatever is the amount of japa, suppose Shadakshari mantra, so 6 lakh japa is what one does as a Puras Charan. So, it is said that the 1/10 of that one has to do in Havan. The ahutis have to be offered in Havan of the same mantra. One has to do the Havan, and then so 6 lakh will be 60,000. Then 1/10 of that one should do Brahman Bhoj, 6,000. Now, obviously, not everybody will be able to feed Brahmanas, 6,000 Brahmanas and all that. So, Yatha Shakti, whatever one can, do the Brahman Bhoj, do the Dan, etc. The idea here is only this: whatever accumulated punya we have got, we also learn to share with others at a gross level. Give them some food, some clothes, some land. Earlier days, land has been given by kings and all of them. Yatha Shakti, each one can give Yatha Shakti. So before the Grahan Snan, during the Grahan time, do the Japa and Homa, but Homa, many technicalities are there, so one avoid. Just sit and do simple Japa, and after the Havan is over, do the again Snan, and then do the Dan, and then eat food. Food also can be cooked after that and eaten, because 9 hours, 12 hours, one has not eaten. So generally that is what is said. Now, some places it will be said that the pregnant women should not see the eclipse. See, again, one point we have to remember here. If you have to see the eclipse, you have to go out. In certain cases like solar eclipse, there can be complete darkness. When that moon will cover the sun completely, then there will be darkness full. A pregnant woman has to be anyway careful. So one is certain reason, and that time electricity and all is not there so much. So one possibility is that they said to avoid seeing. Second, I already said about the eyes. Those are a challenge. But there is no such challenge in a lunar eclipse. But in general, eclipse time, people say pregnant women should not come out or should not see the eclipse, and it will affect their child. That there is no evidence to prove that the child will get affected or anything like that. The child will be born with deformities and certain things that people will say, because as I said, it is not that scientific knowledge was not available, it was available, but there are superstitions that people also create. See, as far as food etc is concerned, it was said here that pregnant women etc, it does not apply to them, they can eat. So I have not come across here, from whatever little study I have done, that pregnant women should not come out and their child will get affected. It may be written somewhere, I'm not aware of that. But scientifically, there is no such proof and there's nothing going to happen. So one doesn't have to act out of fear. One can be cautious, one can do sadhanas. So what we are able to apply nicely, let us apply those things. And yesterday was Sharad Purnima, right? So if you know even the tradition in Sharad Purnima, I don't know how many people follow it today, but in the earlier days we used to have this, that the kheer is made and then that is offered to Bhagwan, and it is kept out actually. It is kept exposed to the moon whole night. Of course, you cover it and then you expose it to the moon, and then next morning it is taken. Now, if it is during this Sharad Purnima, the Grahan Kal is in the night like yesterday, then what does one do? One cooks the kheer after the Grahan Kal is over, and then one keeps it, offers it to the moon, and then takes it the next day. Because again, the belief is in the Sharad Purnima night, the nectarine rays of the moon are much more powerful, and then they influence that food, and that food, if you consume, it is good for whatever health and the growth of the person. So as far as Grahan is concerned, these are a few things that one follows. I hope I've answered all the questions. You should chant Bhagwan's name, not sleep. Don't sleep, because it's a time where there is so much of spiritual evolution that can happen and so quickly. Then why waste that opportunity? That opportunity doesn't come so easily. So whenever there's a lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, just imagine in a year at least 2, 3 it will happen or not. Now again, remember, all this is applicable if the Grahan is visible in your country, in your region. If it is not applicable, then this is not applied here. So from wherever you are able to see, if it is visible in your kshetra, in your country, then all these rules will apply. And so don't waste the time in sleeping, etc. So it is a do the sadhanas, evolve spiritually faster. Then it affects a human being. Does it add to punya? Yes, it definitely adds to punya. It affects most for pregnant women. In turn affects the child. Now that scientific evidence is not there for that, and maybe that is in the past something may have happened and people have connected two events together, but otherwise just be careful, cautious. If you are watching, watch with the proper lens, sun, what is the solar protected ones, and then Surya Grahan and Chandra Grahan one can watch with naked eye. It is fascinating, there is no doubt, but more fascinating is the spiritual growth. So you can either choose to watch it outside, the beautiful phenomenon, and then the moon and the the different layers, different whatever you call that transitions that keep happening, and take photographs and all that. Or you can choose to dive within. You can choose to do both. For some time do that, sometime do this. Shastra will say that use the full time for doing japa only, because that will heighten the spiritual growth very fast. It will speed up spiritual growth very fast. Photographs and all that you can see from anywhere. Or in a year, if 3-4 are there, you choose to see one. Do the sadhana in the others. That is up to all of us, what we choose to do. But this is what it is. We don't have to get scared about it. See, the Dan Mahima also is given here, that it is stated by the Shatapatha, Snanam Danam Tapashraddham Anantam Rahudarshane Asurira Triranyatra Tasmatam Parivarjayet. So there it says that gifts, baths, tapas and shraddha at the time of eclipses yield inexhaustible rewards. So one can do. That's why all these are prescribed properly. A passage is quoted from Mahabharata. On Ayana and Visuva days and on the occasions of the eclipses of the sun and the moon, one should make a gift of land together with dakshina to a deserving Brahmana. And who is a Brahmana? So Yajnavalkya Rishi very clearly says that not by learning alone or by tapas alone does one become a deserving person. That is declared a deserving person in whom these two, Vidya and tapas, and actions are found. That they have to correspond. Vidya and tapas must integrate with their daily life in their behavior. That person is a deserving person. And so scriptures give many sadhanas. One thing beautifully it said that all rivers become Ganga on the eclipse day. So if you are near any river, you will get the benefit of Ganga. What was said earlier, that if you are, especially if you are near proper Mother Ganga, as it is, then to definitely that much more benefit. But otherwise it is said all rivers become Ganga. So the order of the acts of eclipse is first bath in Ganga or other water, do pranayam, tarpan, japa of Gayatri, homa in the fire with til, etc. And chant certain mantras for the planets, and then Atma Shraddha, and then do the Dan. So in general, that is what one generally does during Grahan. See, again it is said, an eclipse is the best time for japa and for diksha, initiation ceremonies, mantra diksha, etc. And perfection in mantras peculiar to various deities. One should engage in japa and the like while an eclipse of the sun or the moon is in progress. One should not bathe or eat food during that time. But when the sun and moon are free from eclipse, one should bathe and then partake food. And one may engage in the japa of Gayatri mantra, Rig Veda 3.62.10. They all said in the Rig Veda. See that. And it is laid down that if one does not engage in japa on an eclipse, one becomes sinful. For diksha, as to the mantra, 7 days from the eclipse are allowed. So diksha can be given on the day or up to the 7 days. The effect of it will be the same. Solar eclipse is the best time for diksha. Now, another point they have given very beautifully is, which this had happened during COVID actually. What had happened? If the solar eclipse occurs on a Sunday and a lunar one on Monday, such a conjunction is called Chudamani. And it was laid down that a Chudamani eclipse yields 1 crore of times as much merit as an eclipse on other weekdays. during COVID, this had happened. We had pointed out that at that point in time. So these are beautiful things the Shastra says. We don't have to get scared. We have to see what is the holistic picture and benefit, how we benefit from it. And these are methods by which, anyway, we keep looking for a lot of shortcuts. No? The Shastra is giving a shortcut, saying ki this much japa quantity you can accumulate in such a short period of time. We might as well make use of it. नाम धन का खजाना बढ़ाते चलो, अपनी मुक्ति का मार्ग बनाते चलो. Right. So that's about the question which had come for the eclipse. Anyone has any other question? Yes.
Hariom Swamiji. Swamiji, regarding this eclipse, I opened my Panjika, and here it is that next year on 8th April, it is there in 2024. It's a Purnagras Surya Grahan, but they are saying it is not going to be seen in India. So in that case, what are the
Nothing has to be followed.
But japa, if we do not, it will not be effective.
See, the rules, you can do japa. Nobody prevents you from doing japa at that point in time. But these rules, they are very clear that they apply only, especially about the snan and all those things that I said. They are very clear that they apply. The word uses darshana gochara. Okay, so I'm just going to read that part. The Smriti, Kaustubha and the Samay Prakasha, they lay down that what is meant by darshan gochara is that when one knows from the astronomical signs that the eclipse is capable of being seen with the eye in a particular country, one should at the respective time perform bath and the like, even though one may not actually see it. The Samvatsara Pradipika is quite explicit that is said to be an eclipse which can be observed by the eye. So there are two different opinions. Some people say that which is observable by the eye, that is called darshan gochar. And so all the rules are applicable of the bath before and the food and darbhagras and not eating food, etc. is applicable before the in situation where this eclipse is visible.
Visible, okay.
If it is not visible, which is what they say that so Kala Viveka gave this reply that if mere existence of an eclipse were an occasion for bath, then the unacceptable conclusion would be that even if the moon were to be eclipsed in some other country, according to astronomical calculations, a person in a different country would have to undergo a bath by day for a lunar eclipse in a distant land. But that is not how it is. So only where it is visible, there, because so you are facing that, and you are facing away from it. So if you are facing that, then all these rules will apply.
Okay. Thank you, Hariom Swamiji.
Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vachishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.